Aurora Police have more than a dozen suspected migrant gang members in custody after a huge operation overnight.
We will not allow the victimization of our community members, again, whether documented or undocumented, to occur.
President-elect Trump's mass deportation plan would remove both the victims and the perpetrators of crime within the migrant community. There's debate over whether Aurora Police should communicate with immigration agents. A disgraced and disbarred district attorney now accused of taking the office furniture on her way out. And we meet a Coloradan who just got a presidential pardon, a man who now dedicates his life to community service. That's tonight on Next. Aurora Police appear to have struck the largest single blow against migrant gang crime in the 5 months since they first acknowledged that Venezuelan gangsters were targeting other migrants in Aurora. APD brought in more than a dozen people overnight after making fewer than a dozen arrests of suspected Tren de Aragua members before that. More than half the Aurora police officers on duty last night were involved in this operation.
We have a problematic location in the city of Aurora. We are not going to tolerate it. We are going to address it. We are going to continue to focus on it.
The problematic location referred to there by Aurora Police Chief Todd Chamberlain is the Edge at Lowry apartment complex near Colfax and Dallas. For months, Aurora Police have described the gang's influence in the city as isolated, pledged to root them out of that property and others. Police say last night a man and a woman were kidnapped out of their unit by a group of people, taken to another apartment at the same complex where they were tied up and assaulted. The police chief says most of the victims and suspects are believed to be Venezuelan migrants, and APD is focusing on convincing immigrants that it is safe to talk to local police. The chief reiterated today that Aurora Police do not have the legal authority to detain people based solely on their immigration status.
But I want to be very clear, what we are not going to do is over-enforce or over-police to the people that are not involved in criminal activity. I am not going to step away from not using federal resources to focus and to take those individuals into custody that are victimizing other people. And again, whether that's DHS, whether that's ICE, whether that's HSI, I don't care. It is not about their documentation status. It is not about whether they are documented or undocumented. It's about the fact that they are causing crime, they are victimizing people, and they are going to be held accountable.
Chief Chamberlain says he's absolutely confident that this home invasion was gang-related, but he said it's too early to say definitively that it was Tren de Aragua. The city has repeatedly said that that apartment complex is a criminal nuisance and has been working with the owners on a deal to shut it down, promising the people living there that they get at least 30 days' notice. President-elect Donald Trump has said that his mass deportation will begin with gang members and eventually include every person in the United States without authorization, more than 20 million people by Trump's estimate. One of Donald Trump's most vocal supporters in Aurora, conservative Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky, says that the state should be sending law enforcement resources into Aurora right now, which is something that Aurora Police have not requested. Here's Angeline McCall with that.
In a crime where immigrants are not only the victims, but also the perpetrators, it's time, one council member says, to rethink the approach.
We can't just continue to sit around and do nothing. So something has to be done.
Aurora Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky wants more resources dedicated to addressing Aurora's troubled apartment complexes, where police say gang activity led to 2 victims being tortured early Tuesday morning.
Aurora's staffing levels are definitely critical right now. I would like to see help come in.
A spokesperson for the city says Aurora hasn't requested additional help. Governor Polis says that support could be there.
The state stands by ready to help. As I said from the start, we are happy to assist Aurora Police Department in any way that they ask.
Jurinsky's request comes as police have seen increased calls for police help at the Edge at Lowry, where 14 people were detained. In 2023, 198 calls for service. In 2024, 353.
But what I do know is that since this has come forward, since this gang issue, Tren de Aragua, has been made public, we have not been able to tackle it. People are continuing to suffer.
She says if not additional staffing, then resources are needed from other agencies.
We need help. Our officers need help.
According to the governor's spokesperson, Polis has offered a SWAT team and officers to combat gang violence. Polis's office says the city previously got help from state troopers, CBI agents working the cases, and the state's anti-violence task force as well.
Imagine there would be a variety of perspectives, right, both inside and outside law enforcement about the best way to tackle this issue, to keep people safe and go after perpetrators.
Right, yeah. Councilwoman Jurinsky says that, for instance, her approach is more enforcement, right, adding more resources for enforcement specifically. Now, speaking with a different council member, you know, she sort of proposed doing something different, doing more outreach, right? Typically in a community that doesn't always report crime or is hesitant to do so.
Yep, that was something the police chief reinforced today, that he wants the community talking to people about what they're experiencing. Angeline, thank you very much. There is now a majority on Aurora City Council that supports President-elect Trump's Operation Aurora, largest deportation in American history that Trump says will begin in Aurora, Colorado. Republicans control that nonpartisan city council, and one Democrat joined with the Republicans to fill an empty seat with an Aurora resident who is both an immigrant and an official at an immigration detention facility. Amsalu Kasau is an Ethiopian immigrant and a lieutenant for the private corporation that runs the ICE facility in Aurora. The Ethio-American Development Council says Kasau is the first Ethiopian American to serve in a public office in Colorado. Kasau was one of 3 candidates running to fill the seat vacated by outgoing at-large City Council member Dustin Zvonek. Kasau is going to have to run again next year if he wants to serve a full term. Today, Colorado's presidential electors went for Kamala Harris as a majority of electors nationwide cast their votes for President-elect Trump, sending his win to be certified by Congress. Colorado is on board with a system that would give our state's electors to the winner of the popular vote nationally. This year it was Trump, but that hasn't kicked in yet. Governor Jared Polis and Secretary of State Jenna Griswold, both Democrats, joined the state's 10 electors as they cast their votes for Harris today. Under current Colorado law, each elector must vote for the candidate that gets the most votes statewide. That could change if enough states join the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. Long name, basic idea, if this thing goes into effect, those states' electors would all go to the candidate who gets the most votes nationally. At this point, 17 states and Washington, D.C. have signed on. The pact kicks in when it gets to 270 electoral votes, what a presidential candidate needs to win. So far, it has 209. Disgraced former district attorney Linda Stanley is accused of near comedic levels of unethical behavior. Disbarred for a string of ethics breaches, just served with a lawsuit for improperly spending taxpayer money on her defense, and now they think she took the office furniture on the way out. Our Mark Salinger has that.
My name is Linda Stanley. I'm the district attorney for the 11th Judicial.
Linda Stanley was stripped of her ability to represent Chaffee, Fremont, and Custer counties when she lost her law license in November. Now she needs yet another lawyer of her own.
To be blunt, it's been an embarrassment.
Kevin Grantham is a commissioner in Fremont County. His county, along with 2 others that Stanley used to represent, are now suing the former district attorney. They want back more than $110,000 of taxpayer funds that Stanley used to pay her own legal fees. $110,000 spent on lawyers. She still lost her ethics case and her law license. The county also believes some office furniture went missing when she left. They're still trying to figure out what she took.
We take no pride in what we're having to do here, but the fact of the matter is, taxpayers are owed money, and we're going to go after it.
New documents obtained by 9 News show Linda Stanley has been long gone from her job as DA, even before she naturally lost her job. It was so bad, the incoming district attorney felt it was necessary to submit an affidavit to the Supreme Court about Stanley's work ethic. She has not been seen in the office since early spring of 2024. Incoming DA Jeff Lindsay wrote, "The state of the office is currently chaotic, and there is no hope it will improve," he added.
Obviously, Mark, this is not where we want to be. This is not where you envision things going.
It took 9 days to track Stanley down and serve her with the new lawsuit. Eventually, they found her in a cabin in a small town of less than 30 people in Park County. We've tried reaching out to her and her lawyers for months. She rarely ever responds.
Fact of the matter is, this person that we're suing has been disbarred from her own profession. And so I'm not sure where nearly $300,000 will come from. Let's put it that way.
So the counties want triple the amount of money that Stanley spent on her legal fees. So they're asking her to pay $330,000. While we obviously don't know what her finances look like, she did recently ask the Supreme Court to not strip her of her law license, to allow her to keep so that she could make more money to repay those legal fees, Kyle.
You know, you got to say, Mark, I mean, some people will have a lapse and get accused of doing one thing that's unethical. These allegations suggest that Linda Stanley kind of made it her personality.
Yeah, I mean, you heard the commissioner right there say that it's an embarrassment, to be blunt. Now, she has until January 6th to respond to this lawsuit, asking for that $300,000. If she doesn't, the commissioner said they're going to go after her any way they can.
All right, Mark Salinger, still on it for us. Thank you, Mark. Littleton City Council is considering allowing duplexes and multiplexes in every residential part of Littleton, even areas currently reserved for single-family homes. The city's goal to expand the so-called missing middle of housing options as people get priced out. A survey from the city's planning department found 65% of people in Littleton said they were supportive of seeing more housing options beyond single-family. The proposal got a mixed reaction from City Council earlier this year. They talked about balancing the need for more housing with what they described as Littleton's character.
I think a lot of these changes seem to ignore the comp plan and the character. We're trying to keep some character in our community. That's what makes Littleton great. I know we have a housing shortage. I know we need more housing, but we need to do this carefully and not just open it up to any kind of building in any neighborhood.
Guessing people are going to want to talk about this. The proposal gets its first reading at City Council tonight. The public comment on it is next month. Excel says its plan to go green is going to take a lot of green. Yours, of course.
Finally happened. If this is real, God answered my prayers.
He had put his tax crime behind him to focus on helping the community. Then he got a call from the White House. Xcel Energy just turned in a hefty request to state regulators today for what it calls the grid of the future. Grid of the future. Guessing what you care about is how much it's going to cost you and what you get for that money. You get the grid of the future. Xcel says it needs $7.5 billion over 5 years to increase electricity capacity and improve reliability. You'll see them use that word reliability a lot when they ask for permission to charge you more money. Given how many homes now have electric vehicles and heat pumps, Xcel says there's the need to create more electricity. So, how much will it cost you? According to Xcel, an average residential home pays almost $97 a month right now. That would go up $1 a month starting in 2026. It would then increase each year, and in 2029, the average customer would pay almost $9 more a month. Today's filing is just step one in a months-long process before state regulators determine the final amount.
Dreaming of a little snow before Christmas? If you live in the mountains, you're in luck. And in Denver, tonight is your best shot because we're going to be mild and dry between now and all the way through the middle part of next week. So there's a chance of a few snow showers tonight. It's been all about the wind today ahead of a system that's dropped anywhere from 4 to 6 inches of snow in the mountains. We started at 24 degrees, warmed to 54. There are the averages for comparison. We're down to 36 degrees now in Denver, and that cold north wind continues to blow as the front drops from north to south. The winds will ease as the front continues to pull away, but there's the chance of a snow shower in Denver over the next couple of hours. The accumulating snow stays in the mountains where a winter weather advisory is extended out through at least 8 o'clock tonight. A lot of moisture coming into the state. Snow advisory, winter weather advisory for the northern and central mountains, winter storm warning for southeastern Wyoming. And we have a little bit of snow tracking across the northeastern plains out toward the Lyman area and Fort Morgan. Fast-moving snow showers that are driven by the wind, which will not allow for a lot of that moisture to hit the ground. So again, best chance for accumulation outside of Grand Lake, Kremling, Steamboat Springs, and up into southeastern Wyoming. Accumulation amounts will be light after about 9 o'clock. Denver has a chance of a snow shower and then skies clear. We have a beautiful day tomorrow with a few high clouds and temperatures warming above average again. Temperatures in the 40s now, dropping into the lower 30s ahead of an extended period of warm, dry weather that'll get us into the upper 50s and low 60s right through the middle part of next week.
The possibilities are endless as to what you can do with your life if you stay hopeful and stay positive.
He stayed positive, indeed. He put his past in the rear view and he's helped Coloradans live more productive, safer lives. And then he got the call that he'd been waiting for. Hey, a reminder, you can catch Next streaming each night at 6 p.m. on 9 News Plus. And Next is now a podcast each weeknight. It's like the show, but you don't have to look at me. When Johnny Williams talks to young Coloradans about staying out of trouble, he knows a bit about that. He served a year in jail on a tax offense. Now, in recent years, he's led an anti-gang violence youth organization in the metro area. And he was one of several dozen Coloradans pardoned by President Biden last week for their nonviolent crimes.
32 years ago, we started the Gang Rescue and Support Project. And the Gang Rescue and Support Project provides intervention for young people that are involved in gang lifestyle and giving them support to help them change their life. My name is Johnny Williams. I am the Executive Director of Denver Youth Program. I came from Chicago, and in Chicago I saw a lot of death and mayhem before I was even the age of 13. Coming from a big city where a lot of things were happening and some of the impoverished neighborhoods that we were in, you try to figure it out. You figure out, and sometimes when you're doing that, you make bad choices, or you find yourself facing some things that you don't want to face. In 1999, there was a situation that occurred around income taxes and again, lack of knowledge, lack of being able to navigate those systems, put me in a place to where I ended up being charged with a charge that about 6 years after that, my life was changed for the better. So I applied for a pardon, and that's been over 10 years now. On Wednesday, I got a phone call saying it was the White House, and I was like, okay, whatever. But then the gentleman on the other end assured me that this was real and that the president was going to give me a pardon, and I was still kind of in a cloud because I was like, this is really happening. Be it known that the day that the president has granted unto you, Johnny Earl Williams, a full unconditional pardon. But what went through my mind was, if this is real, it finally happened. If this is real, God answered my prayers. If this is real, then the possibilities are endless as to what you can do with your life if you stay hopeful and stay positive. And that is something that I like to teach my young people. If you plant that seed and you nourish it, you don't know when it'll sprout, but one day it will. As long as you stay hopeful and positive and healthy, there's always a chance for things to change.
How great for him. Hey, full disclosure, Williams' organization, Gang Rescue and Support Project, GRASP, was the recipient of one of our Word of Thanks microgiving campaigns back in 2021. Marilyn, you like the temporary set for the week? We're just here for the week. They're doing some renovations on our other one. This is kind of nice, though. It's spacious. It's spacious. It's blue. The other one's really blue, too. Feedback from the hidden corner up there next. We are honored each and every night that you invite us into your homes, but especially so when you make room for us as a holiday decoration. By popular demand, we have been putting out a Next holiday ornament printable at home for the last 5 years since the pandemic. We know that some of you have collected all of them over the years, and Ondine sent us a photo of a very Nexty holiday corner. 5 years worth of ornaments on display. She's got the original with the woodpile logs, got that crispy donkey, got the Clark Griswold car on the rock, got the shot ski, remember from the pandemic year? No tree this year at Ondine's house, says a new cat in the mix. Nixed that. You can get this year's festive celebration of Governor Polis freeing a wolf on 9news.com. Go to the next section and download your own. Feedback really slaps tonight. This by text. Your new backdrop in the studio is terrible. I can't tell if you're in a castle or the Adams County Jail. You guys couldn't have picked a bigger, better, brighter one? So the good news is this is just a temporary one-week thing while we work on the other studio. The bad news is you'll probably dislike that one too. And somebody wrote in to say, ask Linda Stanley for some furniture for the set.